Hi everyone, it's Donna from Donna's Corn-Free Cooking again. And today what I'm going to share with you is what I told you in the first video. I'm going to make Donna's Corn-Free Pecan Sandies. The way I do this, I use my stand mixer, and I've already got in there 1 cup of sugar. To that, I am going to add a cup of butter, which is generally 2 sticks. And I always use pure butter. Margarine is made from corn. And because of that, I'm not about to touch it. And 2, because of it being made from corn, it has the properties of plastic when you fire it up at so many degrees. Next, I'm going to add to this, and excuse me while I grab it, it's 1 cup of oil. Thought I had everything set up, but I guess I didn't. This is a great little recipe. It's quick and easy to put together. And then you make your logs, you put them in the freezer and leave them for about an hour, take them out and start slicing them. And you've got a wonderful little cookie that is great for after school snack. It's great for, I do tea parties. It's wonderful for that. It's wonderful as making up little gifts for people that are full of cookies. And share at get-togethers. In fact, these cookies I'm making are going to a get-together tomorrow. So now I'm going to add 1 cup of canola oil into the mix, and then I'm going to get this started mixing with my KitchenAid. And I love being able to use the KitchenAid with this particular recipe because it makes it quick and easy. I start out at low and then I turn it up to start it mixing in well. Then when it gets so far, I'll start adding my eggs, which you add 2 eggs. And as I said in the previous video, for people with corn allergies, a lot of them don't use eggs at all. I will use cage-free or organic. I will not use eggs from chickens that have been grain-fed because of the fact I always have a reaction. So now we're going to start adding our eggs 1 at a time. And I'll pop 1 in there. Let it mix up. Then I will add the second one. I let that whip up just a little bit. Now some people like to add a flavoring, but due to the alcohol content, which is generally made from corn, I won't use flavoring. The only thing I have done is I have used some lemon zest and fresh lemon juice, which is, oh, it just makes the cookies out of this world. You could also vary it and do a little ginger and make a ginger sandy. I think they would be great. I do have a recipe that I do for lemon ginger cookies, and they are just really out of this world. So now, looking at this, I'm going to turn it down just a tiny bit, and I'm going to grab my bowl with my flour. And in the bowl, I have 4.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I mix that up well. So when I'm doing this, I usually like to just turn it off, flip it down, do a cup at a time in the mix. That way you don't have flour flying all over the kitchen. And after I mix these, that's exactly what I was talking about. As they start to mix better, then I add more. I'm going to see if I can get this in there without making a mess. What you want to do is make sure that you get it all incorporated well so that By the time you add the nuts, it's completely mixed and ready to go. Oh, there goes the flour. Like I told you before, I'm always messy. I try not to be, and I'm always cleaning up after myself. But it's just part of the game when you're cooking. I put too much at one time in there, that's why it did that. And of course I like to spill it. This recipe is quick, it works up quickly, and it's a time saver because you put the logs in the freezer, and if you don't have time to bake them that day, you can do them the next day or the next week. They keep very well in the freezer, and you just take them out, slice them, put them in the pan, and bake them. I bake these at 375, and I bake them at 350, excuse me, and I bake them for 8 to 10 minutes until they're slightly golden. Okay, now I need to add more of this. It's really mixing up good now. More mess. I always try to keep a rag handy so I can wipe up whatever I spill. I don't like to have a mess in my kitchen. Okay, now I'm going to drop this down. And I'm going to get the rest of this in there. There we go. Now we'll put it back up, get it going again to get that incorporated. And I'll beat it just a little bit faster. And as you can see, it's getting thicker and thicker. Okay, now I'm ready to add 1 cup of pecans to that mix. And I just mix it for about 30 seconds. And it's done. Now I'll get this out. There you go. Isn't that beautiful? That dough is just perfect. Okay, now we're going to go over here. And what I'm going to do is wash my hands real quick, so excuse me for a second. I never like to handle the dough unless my hands are cleaned. And that's very important, especially when you have corn allergies. I wash my hands so much because if I'm cooking something for my husband that I know I can't eat, I always make sure I wash my hands and I wash the utensils so they don't contaminate my food that I make. Generally though, I try to make food that both of us can have, so he's learned how to live corn-free just as I have. So now we're going to go over here. Let me turn the camera. I want to make sure I've got it right. Okay. Now we're going to go over here and I'm going to make these logs on this board that I use for my pie crust. And as you can see, I've already gotten it cleaned up again. But I'm not going to use extra flour this time. What I'm doing is I'm going to take about that much. You can get 2, and I take and shape it into a log, as you can see. And you can get, and then I start rolling it, but you can get 2 big logs if you like big cookies, or do like I do, and I make 4 logs, and I have little petite cookies that are about yay big, and they are so good, just so yummy to eat. Now we got 1 log done. I'm going to take my plastic wrap And I start with the end and I flip it over and try not to break it when I do. And get the edge on there. And then I just wrap it up. And I always try to make sure I get enough wrap that it's completely covered, and then some. So then I just bring that over and lay it on my cookie sheet. That's one down. Okay. Thing about this is it's the best cookie dough, and I know they say do not eat cookie dough when you have eggs because of the risk of salmonella. It's never stopped me, and I've never gotten salmonella, but that's not to say that I never will, because I could. But today I'm going to leave the cookie dough alone. Okay. Now when you get it to the size and the shape that you want, then you pull out more plastic wrap and then just spread it out there. Let's see. I'm gonna do it like that. Makes it easier to wrap. Okay. Now that's 2. And let's see, I should be able to get 2 more. They might be smaller, but yeah, about 2 more. So, and it's easy to do because you don't need flour, you don't need, because of all the butter, you don't need to oil your hands or anything. It just flows. Okay, you're wanting to be contrary. Okay. I find that sometimes with them, they want to say, no, I don't really want to be in a log. So I have to kind of work with it. Okay. Get that end. Okay. And we'll do this. Okay. There we go. Number 3. And then we got 1 more. And this is enough to make so many cookies. You could feed 30 people with them. And I've done it because I make this cookie so much. People go crazy and they're wanting my recipe all the time. And I do share. I'm not greedy. I'm not out to make a profit or anything. I just love to cook. And I want to be able to share with people how to eat when you have allergies. One of my favorite foods, I love carrots, but they found out I was extremely allergic to them also. In all, I'm allergic to 8 different foods. First one was cantaloupe, and then came the corn, and then after that it kind of just spiraled out of control. So I have to be careful what I eat. And I can't cook with, I have to make my own broths for gravy and things, because when I try to find something in the store, they've all got carrot extract. If it didn't have the carrot extract, I'd be good. Okay, so now take a look at that. They are done and ready to go in my freezer, where they will sit for an hour, and then I will slice them and bake them. So I'll be back in an hour and we'll start baking these and see how they come out. Okay everyone, I have my cookie roll ready. So what I'm going to do is unwrap it, and I've got it on a cutting board. And it's already broken, as you can see, and that usually happens, so it's not a big deal. I've got it broken into a couple pieces here, so I'm just going to take one of them. I'm going to put it on my cutting board. And then what I do is I go about yay thick, probably about a 1/4 inch. You can have them as thick or as thin. And what I do, because I make a small cookie, And if they break, I just take the dough and just push it right on the cookie. Won't hurt it. When I make these, I can get more than a dozen on a cookie sheet. You want to put these, I'm putting them on an ungreased cookie sheet, and the reason for this is when you've got as much butter and oil as is in this mix, you really don't need to grease the cookie sheet to prevent it from sticking. So I'm going to cut all these, and then I will stick them in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. And then I will show you what a delightful cookie we have. Now my cookie shapes look almost like little rectangles. You can make it more rounded if you want. I just happen to like them in this bite-sized form so that you can eat as many as you want and not feel guilty. I know that sounds funny, but for those of us who have trouble with our weight, I know I try to eat as few sweets as possible. Having this allergy has kind of helped me to do that. But I still enjoy my cookies. And I've already got almost 12 on this cookie sheet. Okay. And it wants to crumble like that, and like I do, I just push it together and it'll stay that way. They're really, really good. I mean, these, when it comes to cookies, these are my absolute favorites. I do love chocolate chip. My husband's favorite is oatmeal. And as I don't care for oatmeal, it doesn't bother me how I make those. So this one is specifically because of my corn allergy. As you can see, I've got, oh my goodness, we've got 9 cookies just onto one pan. So now I'm going to stick it over here in the oven at 350 for 8 to 10 minutes. And then we will see what we've got. And I always preheat the oven so that it's good and hot when I go to put my cookies in. And I usually do probably 2 or 3 baking sheets at a time. I fill them up and then I bake one at a time, or I have a double oven, so I bake one in one oven and one in the top oven. So that makes it go a little bit quicker. But they're a wonderful snack. They're great for get-togethers, and like as I said before, they're great for gifts. And I love putting them in a little one of those little bag things that are like saran wrap, but they're gift bag, and tying them up with a ribbon. And you see these beautiful little cookies in there. They're wonderful to eat, and I know that you'll enjoy this recipe. I hope that you all like the recipes I share with you. I'm just trying to help those who are like me. And as I said before, everything you do, everything you use, you have to determine for yourself what is best. Because I can do some of the derivatives that are minute with no reaction. I believe that's due to the fact that I did such a big heavy cleanse on my body to get rid of all the corn toxins so that they don't affect me like they did before. But it's an ongoing thing. You have to watch yourself and see how you do. I know my next video I'm going to be sharing with you how to make marshmallow cream with a simple syrup and Knox gelatin. Knox gelatin is not made from corn, and I am able to use it. I use it a lot in some pies that I make. I've done it in my meringue pies, and I've done it, of course, to make the marshmallow cream. I use the marshmallow cream in a lot of different recipes, and I'm going to share with you how I make my peanut butter fudge. It's a trick that I learned growing up, but because of the corn allergy, I've changed it up a little bit, and it's really, really good. So hopefully you will like that recipe, and we'll be able to share more with you as time goes on. So for now, we've got 5 minutes left while our cookies bake, and I will be pulling that out, and you'll be able to see how yummy and wonderful they really, really are. And as I said, I thank you all for visiting with me, and I hope that you'll continue to watch my videos. So I will be back in a few minutes. The cookies should be done, and then we'll get to see how awesome they are and how wonderful they taste. So our timer just went off. And oh, look how pretty. You can't wait for you to see these cookies. They are just awesome looking. Take a look at that. These are just simply beautiful. They're nice and brown. And I will tell you that I did bake them for 10 minutes and they came out perfect. It's up to you how long you want to bake them. You could either do the 8 and they'll still be pretty soft, or as I did, you can do the 10 minutes. Being Sandies, they are a little fragile. As you can see, I had one break. But aren't these pretty? They are such wonderful cookies. Now I'm going to taste test one and see how it came out. Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. I hope you'll try this recipe, and I hope you'll see you again next Friday. And all of you take care of yourself and enjoy your weekend.